So in the fallout from that Old Firm defeat, that season-ending defeat, I wanted to take a look at what was going on within the Rangers community, the thoughts and comments that a lot of people over on X are feeling right now, because scrolling through X, looking through that Rangers X community, I've seen a lot of things that to me are pretty important that we kind of discuss or go over in the fallout from this Old Firm. Obviously, if you want to see both mine and Kieran's immediate reaction to that Old Firm, then you can. That's on the channel. I suggest you go over and have a look at that before you go through this video, but we'll just go straight into the comments. Obviously, all of the X accounts that I'm bringing up here, I suggest you go over there and give them a follow. There's a lot of pretty quality content out there covering matches, and you see a lot of their reactions as well. So the first one's from Andy McKellar, who says, pretty remarkable, and by remarkable I mean utterly shite. To be in the same position for a third season where we're going into a summer needing a revolution, recruitment over the last 2 summers has been appalling and the budget is stretched already, and a lot of Rangers fans are completely confused about the recruitment over the past couple of years. And there's a common theme of a lot of people saying, well, we've never really kicked on from 55, we've never really kicked on from Gerrard's season. And I know that Bennett came out and says that was a couple of years ago that it was the best Rangers team he's worked with, and obviously since then there's been a lot of recruitment mistakes. I mean, just the fact that last season we had no director of football and we decided to give the reins of the summer transfers to a completely inexperienced manager we all knew was going to set us back a couple of years, but we didn't think how bad that ended up turning out. And also the fact that, we as fans are, pretty bemused at the fact that we're allowing a lot of players to go past their peak without cashing in on them and leaving for free transfers. And let's be honest, it's not been good enough. I don't think the recruitment at all has been good enough. It seems to be every single season. That's not even looking into the injuries. We seem to be signing players, decent amounts of players, spending decent amounts of money to try and invest into this squad, and we always somehow end up, the spine of the team goes back to what it was the year before because injuries. And let's be honest, we still don't know why that's the thing. Why are injuries so rife within this Rangers squad? And that's not injuries aren't making excuses, because there's games we've played this season where even with the injuries, the squad that's been there have been more than capable of getting 3 points in certain games, and they just didn't. Moving on, 4 lads had a dream said, the selection was wrong, everyone shouldn't be able to predict what would happen, midfield was slow, lonesome, anonymous, we were better when energy of Raskin and Yilmaz came on, but too late. That aside, Lundstrom completely sold the jerseys, sooner he and several others go, the better. Now, the first part of that tweet, the selection was wrong, you shouldn't be able to predict. Essentially what he's saying is, we all predicted what the lineup was going to be. We all kind of thought that, it's going to be Lundstrom, Barisic, Sterling played out of position again. We're going to see Dessers, we're going to see Silva, who, let's be honest, Silva wasn't the worst in that team against Celtic, but I still don't think he should be playing a game like that considering the performance he had in the last Old Firm. But we all predicted that lineup. The whole Rangers community predicted that lineup. It was almost in a sense of, watch us go out in this Old Firm, not having learned from previous mistakes, and putting out a starting lineup that's going to almost kill all hope before the game started. And that's on Clement. That is 100% on Clement. We've said it so many times, we didn't think Lundstrom was a player that we need in an Old Firm like this, and we were proved right, we weren't the only ones to say that. So many fans were the ones to say that. And as I said, putting Lundstram in that midfield, we do feel like the midfield was slow. There's a lot of gaps in there for me. Also because Lundstram tends to fall further back in the pitch and link up with the centre backs, and that's not what we need in an Old Firm. It's a battle of the midfield. All Old Firms are a battle of the midfield, and I think you need that presence and that energy in the middle of the park. It's why so many fans were screaming out for Sterling in the centre of that pitch, because we need him there. It's not his position, but we need that energy in the middle of the park, and we didn't get that, and we suffered for it. Now obviously Yilmaz is an exception. I can see why he didn't start the game. Let's be honest, you come back for injury, the Old Firm's not an easy game to come back from injury from, but I can see other people's points and saying I'd rather play, a semi-fit Yilmaz than play Barisic. I completely get that, but the last thing we wanted in the run-in was us to go play Yilmaz for the start, somehow get a result for the game, and then obviously Yilmaz is knocked back a couple of steps in his recovery into what would have been too important in the last 2 games of the season. Now moving on to Lundstram, Rangers Rabble podcast says, hopefully today is the last time we see John Lundstram in a Rangers shirt. If the manager picks him for the cup final, God help us all. And I'll just go back to my previous answer. I don't feel like he has kicked on for previous seasons. I think he's kind of been past his peak at Rangers. I don't think he's someone that John Lundstram has his uses in certain games, and he can pop up and with an incredible performance when John Lundstram is played against teams who we expect him to play against. Again, when we need that energy in the middle of the pitch, that's John Lundstram's not someone we need. And I think the fans are almost putting so much blame on John Lundstram because obviously that red card and the own goal as well. And obviously, in my opinion, the own goal eventually leads to that red card, because in my opinion, he puts in that own goal, and I think it kind of lights a fire in his belly, and I think how he dealt with that and the reaction that he displayed almost completely sold the jerseys for the rest of the game. It completely killed us. So he kind of used that anger and that fire in his belly completely the wrong way, and no one will know how big a mistake that is more than John Lundstram. Let's be quite honest, and I believe he deserves all the stick he gets, because in my opinion, it wasn't a massive scoreline. So, with 11v11, you never know. If he was able to hang on, we might have been able to eventually take him off and still have 11 players in the pitch and get a bit of energy in there with Raskin as well. So, Lundstram deserves all he gets for this one, and I think he knows that. Now, Gary says, manager comes in October/November, there's an initial bounce, all starts to unravel, starts first full season under unmanageable pressure. We are currently in a toxic cycle with managers, and there is enough evidence to show that it simply cannot happen again next season. Now, I think he's mostly referring to, he's kind of insinuating that we almost come in, the players get a bounce because they want to be selected, they want to prove themselves, and then I feel like towards the end of the season, again, when the going gets tough, I think that a lot of the flaws, a lot of the cracks that have been papered over earlier on in the season start to show face, and that's happened time and time again. We've gone through periods not only during a game, but during the season in general, where there is a complete collapse and then a bit of a reaction when, the pressure's off and we've not really getting much to play for. Again, how many managers, in my opinion, are going to come in and out the door before we realise that something has to change within the squad? My focus 100% is on the squad, and now Clement isn't blameless in this situation. At the end of the day, it's him that picks the starting lineup. I think he got it wrong for the game against Celtic. He has got selections wrong in games before and then forced to make, what I'll admit, decent subs to almost kind of get back into the game and get a result. But the focus 100% has to be in the squad, because that's how many managers are we going to go through and almost have the same result. You know, changing the manager isn't really going to do anything. You're going to just go through a manager cycle who you may or may not eventually find a manager that can get a tune out of these players, but the focus has to be on these players. The focus has to be on this squad. How do we change the squad? Clermont have to work together, and let's be honest, we're going to have to work really, really hard to somehow get rid of not only the deadwood in the squad, but to bring together the money that we've spent last summer to try and bolster that spine of the team, because we're not going to have Barisic. Obviously, I don't think we're going to have Lundstrom. It's, you know, Goldson and Tav. There's rumours that I expect Tav to stay, but Goldson potentially might be on the way out the door as well. There's players, you know, we've almost got a full front line to rebuild. We've got a full, you know, we've got not a full midfield. We've got Diamande, Raskin, but we've also got a midfield to supplement as well. There is so much work to be done this summer. It's unbelievable. Just as I'm recording this, I've seen that on X there's become a few rumours about what the third kit's going to be like, so I'm going to give that a quick search and have a look. Anyway, moving on, MBS 1872 says, we have seen yesterday's game and the last 6 weeks of performances under Gio, Beale and now Clermont. One constant is this group of players. Nothing changes until majority of these players are moved on. Completely agree. Again, it's time to turn our attention away from the manager and solely into that squad. For me, that it doesn't really matter what level of manager you bring in. Recruitment and giving that manager the tools to do what he wants to do is the most important thing. The most important thing. We can't keep bringing in managers who are inheriting the previous manager's squad, trying to supplement it, ended up with a massive injury list and reverting back to the spine of the team that we had the year before. It just doesn't work. We've done it for years now, and at the end of the day, if it keeps going on like this next season, I've no doubt that Clermont will be at the door by Christmas. So it's time to back him. It's time to revolutionise this squad. It's time to strip the spine away, because the past couple of years, in terms of trophy wise and success wise, just have not been good enough. And to top it off with a season that we may not actually win a single Old Firm just isn't good enough. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to jump into the comments. I want you to let me know what you thought about the comments for these people over on X. I want you to let me know what you thought about my comments. And just before we end the season, we're looking to hit that 2,000 subscriber mark. And all I can say is a massive thank you for the support over the course of the season with this channel. We didn't think that we would be growing as quick as this, and it's all down to you guys. We've loved making content for you. We've loved talking to you in the comments, and we can't wait to go away this summer. We're going to be doing a bit of work on the Euros as well, so if you want to see that, let us know in the comments, and we're going to hopefully come back after Scottish Cup final into next season with bigger and better ideas to make the content better for you guys as well. So remember to like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.